Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our webinar for August. We are really excited. I know that everyone is finishing up all their summer vacations, but we are going to talk about back to school preparedness today. We have Purvis Dawson from Fairfax County Public Schools who is going to join us and tell us all about going back to school. He's representing the Safety and Security Office, so we're going to learn a little bit about what kids can expect this year, talk about some of those emergency drills that happen, and how to talk to kids about it so it's not too scary. So just as a reminder, our theme for 2025 is Together We're Ready, Family Preparedness. We are going to be talking a little bit about some of the events that we have coming up for National Preparedness Month, and then an open house public safety day that we're going to have. So after we hear from Purvis, we'll hear a little bit more about those. And then, of course, Ready Fairfax is just our preparedness program. So we go out and we do a lot of different presentations. You can always request a presentation from us if you have a youth group, a community organization, HOA, anything that you're looking to get an emergency preparedness presentation on. We do offer those. But we're here to talk about back to school today. So I'd love to introduce to you Purvis Dawson, and he's from Fairfax County Public Schools, and I will turn it over to you.
Well, thank you, Courtney. I really appreciate it. So, when you think about it, August 18th is just right around the corner. So here we are, getting ready to start yet another new school year. So I think the first thing that I'd like to go over is just remind parents, guardians, and caregivers that truly there's a whole lot of information on the Fairfax County Public School website. And in fact, this picture that you see in my PowerPoint is actually taken from our website. And the school system is already gearing up for back to school. There's a lot of meetings going on, taking place with teachers, administrators, making sure the curriculums are all set and ready to go. So, August 18th, it's a Monday. It'll be here in just less than 3 weeks, and it's back to school for another school year. So literally, one of the best resources a parent can have, a parent or guardian, is the school calendar. And that is exactly what we have up there. That's just a picture of it. And as you go and manipulate the Fairfax County Public School website, you can actually type in some keywords in the search function and go right to the 2025-2026 school year calendar. And you can print off copies. And something unique they did this year is actually they put a YouTube link next to the calendar function on the calendar pages so that parents and guardians can better understand the school calendar that is released by the school system. In fact, what you'll be shocked to find out as you look for the 2025-26 school calendar, they have the next 2 years worth of calendars that are projected and drafted out for the subsequent next 2 school years. So don't get them mixed up, whatever you do, because I've seen that happen before. But anyway, at least parents and guardians can get an idea of what the school calendar is going to look like. The next thing I would like to bring forward to your attention is one big key question. Is your child registered? If not, we got to get you into one of our schools or one of the centers, administrative centers, to get your child registered. And I won't go over this entire slide, but I do want to remind those of you that have returning students into the school system to make sure that you get on the student information system. We nickname it SIS. There's a lot of good information on there, especially for parents. You can access your students' attendance records, grades, and assignments at any time in that parent view portion. We ask you to also update your contact information in parent view. Often we'll have students move from one location in Fairfax to another. So it's important that we have the current, most updated contact information, cell phones, emails, your home address, etc., so that we know how to reach out to you. Also, there's a section on there about preparing for the school meals, and are you going to be paying for lunch online? There's a couple options you can do. And most importantly, save the date, back to school nights. Those dates are already being advertised for back to school nights. And for a lot of our schools, just before school opens, they, especially at our middle schools, high schools, and secondary schools, they have that opportunity for you to come to the school and visit for several hours before the official start of school, either to meet your teachers, get equipment, etc., or register for different things like in the high schools, the boosters clubs, etc. So those dates too are coming up. So you may want to check with your individual schools on some of that more specific information. I'm not sure if those are all listed in there, but I do know that back to school nights are already into the system. So what's new for this year? So if you haven't heard, one of the biggest policy changes for next year, and I'm starting at the bottom of the list, is the cell phone policy. There is a brand new updated policy for the 2025-26 school year. So I would draw everyone's attention, especially our students, to make sure that you look and examine that new policy, because the bottom line is there is much tighter restrictions on cell phone usage, when you can have it, when you can't have it. And not only is it a new policy by the school board, but it's actually new policy across the Commonwealth of Virginia. There's also new grading policies. And for those elementary school parents, yes, we are still going to have early release Wednesdays. And again, there's a lot of information on the county's website that you can review or download different information concerning those Wednesday early release days. And then the other thing I want to remind everyone, and I find this very helpful when the school system has done this, 10 days before the school year starts, so that's starting on August 8th, literally, the school system will publish on what you should be doing that 10th day before school starts, then the 9th day, the 8th day, all the way down to the day before. So it's really super important that you look at this resource that's being published. These are some excellent guidelines that school administrators as well as teachers have all collaborated on to make your transition from those summer months back to the school. So let's see what else we got here. Back to school preparedness. Make sure that the school has all the updated information for your emergency contact. And I cannot stress this enough. Often, again, we have parents or guardians that will either move, or their job numbers, their phone numbers change, or cell phone numbers change. And it's really extremely important that if your student gets ill, and hopefully that won't happen, but or some kind of emergency happens, that we have the proper information to be able to contact you regarding your student, your son, your daughter in our school system. So please make sure you update not only the information in SIS, but make sure that when the school sends home the paperwork and the emergency contact cards, you fill that out, make sure it's returned to the school in a timely fashion. And then, there's a little tip here, especially for the little ones, those that are in our elementary school levels. It's really cool that if you could use that sample card that I just showed, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy, but a backpack emergency card, so that should your little one walking home from school, or the backpack gets lost, or whatever type of emergency that your son or daughter may run into, to have that little contact card stuffed in that backpack and put in some prominent place, that if law enforcement or somebody had to go through that backpack, they could actually find it. Having a conversation now with your student, your son, your daughter, is extremely important about emergencies. You never know what could happen in a school. There could be a small fire. Um, we always have fire drills. We have them about 14 times now per year. There's going to be 2 fire drills right at the very beginning at the start of school. Within the first 20 days of school, there'll be fire drills. So at least there'll be 2 fire drills, and then there's a fire drill every other month, or excuse me, every month, not every other month. So we have one every month to get the students and staff in tune with what to do and where to go, how to get out of the building safely, and where to go once you're out of the building, where you're exiting to, exiting from to go to. So the bottom line is we have fire drills, we have tornado drills, we have earthquake drills, we have what we call a shelter in place drill, as well as we have 2 lockdown drills during the school year. So now, before the start of the school year, is a great time to have that opportunity to speak with your son, with your daughter, about preparing for emergencies. We find, and statistics have proven time after time, that if we sit down and we talk to our students, talk to our sons, talk to our daughters about these drills, it gives them more at ease. The first time they learn about a drill should not be when they're in school. And of course, fire drills are extremely important. All these drills are extremely important. You never can know when we're going to have extremely bad weather that impacts our roadways or impacts the building itself. Fires have been known to happen, but the great thing is there has not been one student killed or hurt extremely bad since we instituted, and when I say we, all the way across the United States, fire drills and pre-planning for fire drills. So then again, it's extremely important that we understand what a fire drill is and what to do in case of a fire drill, just like in any of these things. So take the opportunity now, these 17 days before school starts, to take a look at this list of drills and talk to your son, talk to your daughter, and make sure that they understand that in a time of emergencies that they remain level-headed. They listen to their teachers, they listen to their school administrators, they go to where they're directed, and you know what? It'll all work out. So again, now's the time to start talking. A key piece of information that I want to especially bring to the attention of parents, students too, but parents, is it's important that the public understands what security terms the Fairfax County Public School System utilizes. And the reason why I say that is you may have attended a school in Prince William, Arlington, Loudoun, Alexandria City, wherever, if you've not from Northern Virginia or somewhere else in part of the country. And I can assure you that not every school jurisdiction throughout Virginia or throughout the United States uses the same exact terms. So it's really super important that you understand and have a good understanding of what our security terminology is. So we go by 4 basic terms: secure the building, stay put, stay tuned, shelter in place, and lockdown, with lockdown being that of the most critical terminology that we use. And that is when a critical incident is occurring on school property or in the building. And when our students go into a lockdown, again, that is our most serious terminology that we use, but we only use 4. And I know they can be confusing. So in closing out the terminology, there's a short little video that I would really like you all to see. It's only a couple minutes long, but it really does a great job in explaining our terminology that we use in Fairfax County Public Schools.
The safety and security of FCPS students and staff is our top priority. Different potential threats require different action. Depending on the situation, here are the security scenarios parents and staff should know. Lockdown. Lockdown is a heightened security measure meant to isolate students and staff from a threat inside the building or on school grounds. Students and staff go to the nearest room with a lock. All exterior and interior doors are also locked. Staff and students remain where they are in silence until law enforcement or another authorized official releases them. Secure the building. Secure the building is used to isolate students and staff from a threat in the neighborhood surrounding the school. For example, police could be looking for a bank robbery suspect in the area. Students are brought inside and all exterior doors are locked to prevent anyone unauthorized from entering the building. School activities will continue as scheduled inside the building while office staff monitor and control visitor access. Shelter in place. Shelter in place is used to temporarily separate students and staff from a hazardous substance in the air outside the school. For example, an overturned truck is leaking chemicals near the school. The building is secured and the air intake to the building is shut down. No one is allowed to enter the building until public safety officials give the all clear. Students will not be released during a shelter in place. Stay put, stay tuned. Stay put, stay tuned is meant to limit the impact of traffic on area roadways. For example, public safety officials may implement a stay put, stay tuned during a major storm that's brought down trees and power lines onto roadways. Students will not be released during a stay put, stay tuned until public officials give the all clear. School administration may also implement a stay put, stay tuned to limit movement within the school while an internal or external situation is being resolved. There may be a time when students need to be evacuated. FCPS would communicate directly with parents on where to meet their children. FCPS continues to review security measures to ensure that we provide a safe place to learn and work.
So just as a recap from the video, lockdown, secure the building, shelter in place, and stay put, stay tuned is the terminology that we use for our security terms, with lockdown being the most serious and most critical. But I do want to further expand on something before I go to my next subject. Stay put, stay tuned is often referred to throughout Virginia as a hold. And in Fairfax County, we expanded the use of stay put, stay tuned 2 years ago. So whenever you hear a stay put, stay tuned, either by your teacher or on the loudspeaker, it's extremely important that you pay attention to the following message that comes after the term. It might be like an example here that I can think of is stay put, stay tuned in your classrooms, and stay completely out of the gym, or do not go near hallway A or hallway B at all. There could be a medical emergency. So when you think about that, if someone is suffering from a medical emergency and we're getting our fire and rescue department in there or the police department to help out until the fire and rescue department can get there, we don't want people interfering with that kind of medical aid that's going on, that first responder, that first aid that's happening. So often we've called stay put, stay tuned. We may even have some kind of spill or somebody gets sick in a hallway. And again, we just don't want crowds of people coming through down the hallway or down into a certain area until we can take care of the situation. So stay put, stay tuned is new, so pay attention to it. So how can parents find out information during an emergency and or a change from the normal school operating schedule? And that is the question that I, of course, throw out. I'm going to, of course, go over it. But I would strongly encourage every parent or guardian to make sure that they go on to the FCPS website. And FCPS has Twitter, they have Facebook. Of course, we have the FCPS homepage that I was just referring to. And you can register on our homepage for information to be pushed out to you. Like early closings, delayed arrivals for schools because of snow or inclement weather, whatever it may be. You can get registered up to get that. We also have a feature called News You Choose. So if your son or daughter goes to, let's say, Hayfield Elementary School or Hayfield Secondary School, Island Creek Elementary, Fairfax High School, whatever school that your son or daughter is going to, you can register in News You Choose, and you can get information about different events at those schools, including the general county information. And then FCPS, in our Office of Safety and Security, we do have an emergency planning and crisis response page, because often we get a lot of questions from students, parents, and even staff about different emergency planning and crisis planning within our school system. So again, there's a lot of information there. And I even downloaded or placed on this slide the address on that page. But all you have to do is use the search function and type in emergency planning crisis response, and that will populate up on the web page for you. And this slide right here, that kind of depicts a text alert example. So right here, it says FCPS schools will be open 2 hours late tomorrow, December 15th, 2022. Central offices delayed, opening, SAC centers open at 8. And it'll give out different information like that. So that's just one of the examples of many examples I could give that the text alert feature gives to parents, guardians, and caregivers. Now, here's a very important piece of information that as an emergency management planning specialist here in the school district, I can't emphasize this enough. In an emergency situation, should one arise in your school, I'm going to throw out a question. Of course, I'm going to answer it for you, but should parents show up at school when they receive information about an emergency? And the answer is no. Wait. If a critical incident, some type of emergency situation happens at a particular school, it is always best that you wait for further instructions. We often get a lot of parents that will start showing up if they see like a fire truck in front of the school or an ambulance, a police car. And sometimes parents will call the school and say, hey, I just drove by the school, and why is there a fire truck in front of the school? Is everything okay? Or there's an ambulance there. So parents should not just automatically show up. Those resources that I just mentioned, text alerts, emails, phone calls, etc., that you can register for and look at all the different social media, we will update parents in an emergency or a crisis situation. And I'm going to use an extreme example right now. Let's say some type of emergency happens at the school and we have to remove the students from that school and, let's say, evacuate them. And I'm going to use an easy situation, and I'm probably a little biased because my kids went to Hayfield Elementary School and Hayfield Secondary School. If we had to evacuate all the elementary school students from Hayfield Elementary School over to the secondary school because there was an issue, let's say it was an electrical fire or some kind of issue that would make it unsafe for those students to be there, we're going to push that information out, and we're going to let parents know in a timely fashion. No delays, not trying not to feed you information, but we're going to do a parent reunification from, say, Hayfield Secondary School. So we'll put out the information of what the situation is and how we're going to get the students from A to B and what the parent reunification procedure is going to be. Imagine 400 or 500, 600 parents showing up at one time. Number one, where can you park your car? Number two, how can we handle a crowd like that without having the ability to pre-set up for it? So we take our school safety and security procedures to heart, and we understand that as a parent or a guardian, that your concern is going to be for your student, your son, your daughter, but also we have to make sure of their safety. So we would just tell you, in an emergency, do not just show up. Wait for further instructions because we're going to provide that. Um, each school, and I brought a little sample of one, and I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it on the screen, but every school has a crisis management plan. And that plan is scrubbed every year. And what I mean by that, that plan is updated by our principal, our assistant principals. There's a 20-person crisis management team that actually is in place at every school. And every year, this team gets together and they update that plan. And they go over all the emergency procedures that are in place for our school system. So the plan is updated by the staff. It's forwarded to our office, the Office of Safety and Security. We review that plan, and if we have any questions or if we have suggestions on how to improve that plan, of course, we consult with the principal and the assistant principals and who we call the plan editor to make sure that that plan reflects the best responses for any emergency situation. So that plan, like if we had to evacuate from one school to another, it's actually, there's a procedure written in that plan. So again, we would just remind parents and guardians that stand by for that further information because we're going to get it out to you. And again, our plans are, I'm a little biased here because I've been with the school system for several years now, and looking at it and being one of those that has reviewed these plans and have actually assisted with teaching crisis management training to our schools. This is a pretty solid plan. Law enforcement looks at it. Fire and rescue department officials look at it. All of our first responders look at our crisis management plan and review our safety procedures. So we offer what we can as far as the best that we can do to keep our students and staff safe. And we just don't sit back on our laurels. We update these things every year. Just start winding down my presentation. There's a lot of common questions that the Office of Safety and Security receives every year. And I want to go over a couple of those. Does every school have a school resource officer, also known as an SRO? First of all, an SRO is a Fairfax County police officer, and that SRO is specially trained to be within our schools. Now, the only schools that have SROs are middle schools, high schools, and the 3 secondary schools. Every middle school and every high school has one school resource officer assigned to it. Every secondary school has 2. You may be asking, well, why do these secondary schools have 2 SROs? And that's because our 3 secondary schools house the grades of 7th through 12th grade. So literally it's 2 schools in one, a middle school and a high school combined in one building. As such, they get 2 SROs. So school resource officers are there to keep people safe. They're there to keep the students safe, the staff safe. They are not assigned to our schools for school disciplinary reasons. They don't have any say-so in school disciplinary issues, but they are community builders and they are a good resource for our students. In fact, I will tell you that the SROs were so impactful in my own daughter's lives that all 3 of them have something to do in the public safety arena or in the safety security arena, in their post-high school educations and what they studied in their high school or in university level classes. So SROs often become coaches. They often sponsor after school activities. A lot of them do it on their own time because they really want to build those relationships with the student bodies. And bottom line is they're not an official staff member, but they are assigned to the school. And their whole sole purpose is for safety and security reasons to keep students and staff safe. We also have uniform security officers from the Fairfax County Office of Safety and Security for the public school system. So what are they? I will tell you that their uniforms are different than a police officer's. They do wear a badge, and they do have patches, and they do, meaning they have a uniform. And there are a uniform presence in our schools. And our school security officers patrol 24/7. What I mean by that, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Those school security officers patrol our schools even when they're closed, even during winter break, even during summer break. So they're all out there to check our school buildings, make sure that there's no damages to them, or no illegal or illicit activity going on school property. And they're also, on the outside, and they're also patrolling inside. It would not be uncommon to see a uniformed school security officer walking through any school, because again, it's just another added extra layer of protection that the school system has in keeping our students and staff safe. And their uniforms are different, and they're clearly marked school security officer. I will tell you that a school security officer does not have a power of arrest like a school resource officer does, because they're not police officers. And something unique that the school board did several years ago is they have a special squad of school SSO, school security officers, that actually patrol only elementary schools, and they specialize in elementary schools, and their whole patrol schedule is set around going to elementary schools to visit our elementary schools and be a presence in our elementary schools. So that is something unique the school board did several years ago, and I think it's been a big hit with everybody, students and staff alike. Now, the tip line I want to talk about, and we have something called an FCPS tip line. As part of Fairfax County Public Schools, our continuing efforts to maintain a good, safe atmosphere, we have tip lines for students, staff, anybody. And there's 3 ways you can provide anonymous tips to Fairfax County Public Schools Office of Safety and Security. You can do that online, you can do it by texting, and you can even call. We always tell everyone that if you want to send photos or your message is going to be rather lengthy, we would suggest that you do the online tip through and again, it's anonymous. We can still communicate back and forth with you if need be, just like we can with our text feature. However, on the phone call, what happens is when you call that number, the 571-423-2020 number, if you call that number, you'll be leaving a voice message. That voice message then is forwarded to specific people in the Office of Safety and Security. And then we will review that message and forward it to a principal, an assistant principal, or wherever that message needs to go. But again, it's about maintaining safe schools. This is all about confidential and anonymous tips that you can provide. And we strongly encourage anyone, if you feel unsafe, if you feel there's an unsafe situation that may be threatening your school or a student or even a staff member, use the online or text or call features and report it. And of course, that benefits everybody. Now, as this new school year starts, we have new technology being introduced into every school in Fairfax County this year. But something in particular I wanted to talk about on this program is the use of a product called OpenGate. So the school division is using this product, this security feature called OpenGate, which is a weapons detection system. This system will be in place at all middle schools, all high schools, and the 3 secondary schools. We rolled it out last year as a test pilot, and we tested it out in several schools. And after we tested it in those schools, we actually returned to every school that we tested and left open gate materials as well as the equipment there in place. So at the start of the school year, very first day, August 18th, there'll be an open gate presence on a weapons detection system. I would just tell you, for those of you that have a lot of questions, especially parents are like, oh, is this going to harm my student? Is there like radio waves or something that can be detrimental? I would encourage you to go on to, again, to the FCPS webpage, type in Open Gate or weapons technology. And again, I have the information there. And there's a lot of information that we put in there about the pilot project and exactly what this is. But there's other technology that will be coming online to further protect our students and staff in this next school year. So I would tell you to stand by. Again, the only reason why we do this is safety and security. It's not to, it's not to make life more difficult to get into one of our buildings, but we in the Office of Safety and Security, all the school staff, all the principals, everyone that supports this organization has a piece of the safety pie, and that includes students. And we want to keep our students safe. So as a result, there's been more advancement in technologies that we're going to be presenting in the school system this year. The school board and the superintendent's office has gone to great extents to make sure that our atmosphere is safe and secure. You got a safe and secure atmosphere, our students can thrive and they can learn and they can excel and do their best. So that ends my presentation. I would encourage anyone out there that if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to the Office of Safety and Security. I even put my email address out there. I am Purvis Dawson again. I'm the Emergency Management Planning Specialist for the Office of Safety and Security. And my email address is there. And I would just encourage you, if you have those questions, feel free to give me a call. I'll be glad to discuss them with you. And I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Purvis. I think this is a lot of great information, and especially those of us who have kids going back to school. These are questions that come up every year. And I really liked how you kind of broke down all the different terminology for parents and anyone in the school system, because it can be confusing, but the easier it is to understand, the more knowledgeable we are about what to do and what action to take. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So we do have a couple great events coming up. I wanted to first say that September is National Preparedness Month. So as we are gearing up to go back to school, we in emergency management are also gearing up for National Preparedness Month. We are going to be kicking off the month with a really special performance and emergency preparedness expo. The Fairfax County and the city of Fairfax are joining forces, and we are going to be hosting this event at the Sherwood Community Center in the city of Fairfax. We are going to start the day with a performance by Grammy award-winning artist 123 Andres. And as part of a really special project that we've been working on, we have an exclusive emergency preparedness song that is going to actually debut at this event. So you guys can go in and get your tickets. There are a limited number of tickets for the show. So if you are interested, go on and get your tickets today. There are plenty left. Everyone will also be entered to with a chance to get an emergency preparedness starter kit. So we will be giving those away every hour. We'll also be doing a couple extra at the end of the performance for people that came. So that will be a really great event. We'll also have like a touch a truck and those types of things outside. So there'll be plenty of activities to do. We also are going to have a public safety day with all of our public safety agencies. We are actually going to be hosting this at the McConnell Public Safety Building. This event is going to highlight what the 911 call center does. So you'll be able to see inside the 911 call center and meet some dispatchers. So you'll get to put some faces to those voices that you hear over the phone when you call 911, as well as a chance to see the Emergency Operations Center. So we'll have a lot of cool things. We are going to kick this off on October 4th, and it'll be a 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. type of event, and it'll be filled with lots of fun activities. And of course, I wanted to just highlight some resources. We've been getting a lot of thunderstorms recently, a lot of flash flooding in our area. So I do want to highlight and make sure that if you are not signed up for Fairfax Alerts, that you take the opportunity to do so. I also want to mention that Fairfax Alerts is not the only way to get emergency alerts. Wireless emergency alerts, if there's flash flooding, they are geolocated and will be sent directly to your cell phone. The same is true for tornado warnings. So flash flood warnings and tornado warnings, they go to your cell phone. Make sure you have those alerts turned on. A couple of years ago, there was a way for you to be able to turn them off. So just go on into your settings and make sure you have those alerts turned on. We would also encourage you to get a weather radio. So a weather radio, again, can give you that information. It's a great thing to have at home in case you don't have your cell phone or don't have great cell access. If you're camping, if you're home, or whatever you're doing, weather radios are a great way to get that information. Weather radios also have the ability, if you have any individuals who are deaf and hard of hearing, they have some different kits that you can buy that have strobe lights and bed shakers that go along with them. So keep all of that in the back of your mind when you are figuring out how you're going to get emergency alerts wherever you are. If you're traveling this summer, the other great thing that you should do is sign up for emergency alerts for wherever you are traveling to. So everywhere throughout the country has an emergency alerting system. So if you're traveling to a new area that you're not familiar with, sign up for those emergency alerts. You can always go in and unsubscribe to them after you leave, but it's always best to get the information of where you are when you need it. And then, of course, follow us on social media. So we'll have a lot of great things out for National Preparedness Month. We will have 30 ways in 30 days. So every day we will give a new preparedness tip on what you can do to prepare your family. Again, preparing for emergencies is a marathon, not a sprint. We want to take the time. We want to build our plans right. We want to practice them. We want to put together our supplies and make sure that we are ready. So that will be launching in September. And then, of course, what's up next? So National Preparedness Month is up next. So we'll have a lot of great information on what we're going to be doing for National Preparedness Month. That will be September 3rd. So we'll highlight our events again that we're going to be having in September. But we really look forward to seeing you next month. And we wish everyone going back to school happy back to school. We hope that you have a great school year, and we'll see you in September.